The man that conquers himself is greater than one who conquers 1,000 in battle. Now, that saying is by Buddha. I love it. Why? Because it deals with the irony of the self, the ego, the I, the inner being, inner monster, whatever you want to term it as. It kind of puts it all in perspective. And I've said that before in this blog. But again, it is one of my favorite sayings because it describes so much in very little space. The statement in itself is simple. It doesn't deal with using a bunch of words or trying to use 18 syllable words or euphemisms or anything else to get all the way around the tree to get back to the point. It quite simply says, if you deal with yourself, if you learn how to do that, that is a much greater and much more accomplished task or an accomplishment than conquering somebody else or putting somebody else in check. Put yourself in check. See, this irony of self thing is is ironic because we go about building ourselves and the perception and transmission of ourselves. We go about becoming us, becoming this being, this entity that we want to be, or at least think we need to be, or have bought into being. And that's what we push forward. That's what we want to be recognized as. And when we bump up against an obstacle, something that keeps us from truly being that, we tend to shut down, shut in. Not in the sense that we make it known, but we hide within ourselves. We hide whatever is the issue or issues or shortcoming that we can't seem to get around. Because we walk around saying and being or trying to be or presenting that I am this. This, THIS. Totally holding it straight. Totally have it in succession. But we don't. Once upon a time, I had a job. I loved this job. I really did. All things being remainingly progressive, or at least the potential of what I saw them as, I would probably still be doing it, or at least that in conjunction with everything else. I love this job, and it literally motivated me to get up and get through my days and get out and do the things that I did. There were obstacles, of course, but I loved it, making things happen. It was my passion. And to boot, a very good friend of mine was actually my boss. And I think we became better friends through the job. We were acquaintances at first and became friends, became really good friends. And long and the short of it is, my good friend fired me. Yes, my good friend who I still hold dear fired me. Well, actually, he didn't. I fired myself. He gave me notice saying that my employment would be terminated. And I gave him notice that I was terminating my employment. Now, even when he gave it to me, I knew the play was he wanted to know what was going on. He wanted me to wake up from whatever sleep I was in and get back to doing and being me, because I was falling short of the individual that I was at that point. So he was trying to open the door because I wasn't opening the door. I was going through some things, some obstacles, some hardships. And instead of me being honest with someone who could help and wanted to help and who I trusted, I chose to shut the blinds, keep any light out, and sit in a dark room and smolder and cower away from facing the fact that even though I have built myself up to be this person, that I was still vulnerable to having problems, needing help. So instead of saying I need some help, instead of saying I need some understanding, I'm having some issues, instead of just letting it out appropriately, I didn't. So rather than face the fact that someone might know that I wasn't as impermeable as I wanted everyone to believe, I removed myself from the atmosphere. So I shorted myself. Ironic. Rather than allow myself to reach out, ask for, or at least give some understanding that, hey, I am going through some deep right now. Can you bear with me? And give the understanding that I was human. I'd rather close the door with the impression that I am not. I am impermeable. I am impenetrable. I am invulnerable. And, looking back, a true friend or anybody who is intuitive knows if you're going through something, if they've gotten to know you, even if they've gotten to know your habits, your protocols. So by saying, hey, listen, I am such, does not make you any less than. In actuality, it makes you more than. Because it is the imperfection of our being that makes us perfectly us. I'll rewind that. It is the imperfection of our being that makes us perfectly us as we were suited to be. And acknowledging that you don't have it all in check doesn't make you any less than. It actually shows that you're stronger than, because you face a vulnerability. You face a problem of which you're having difficulty surmounting. And you reach out for the resources or the help to get you through. Now, I see that. I realize that. I accept and acknowledge that. I was a little younger, but still. So my point is, don't trip over yourself. And if you do, don't shut in to yourself. When in doubt, reach out. The ironic self will have you shortchanging yourself. And we don't live for regrets. We live. Let me say that again. What would I say there? We don't live for regrets, but you should regret not living. And not living also includes not allowing yourself to be imperfectly perfect. Thoughts from the basement.